Spring in Mississippi can be a really exciting time of year. The grass is turning green, the skies are blue, birds are chirping. I mean, really, some days in the spring are just perfect. But some days it'll look like this. And with this Mississippi spring weather, a lot of times, those are on the same day. Are you ready for spring in Mississippi? Well, ready or not, there are some things you're going to need to be aware of about living here in Mississippi in the spring. And on that note, I want to stop really quick and say if you are the person thinking about moving here and living in Mississippi, or if you already do, if you're going to be buying or selling real estate, especially in the Jackson, Mississippi metro area, take a second, take down this number, because look, we love making these videos. I really do. It's one of my favorite things to do, but I love it even more when we get a chance to help you make a move here or move around the area. So take down the number, take down the email. You can call, text, email. You can even break out that megaphone. Really, y'all, it's whatever you got to do to get in touch with us, because we've got your back buying or selling real estate here in the Jackson, Mississippi metro area. So let's get into it. And the first big thing here, and it encompasses a lot, we're going to get into all of it, and that is the weather. And the weather, you know, as you get these cool air and warm air masses fighting back and forth as we're transitioning from winter eventually to summer, you know, you're going to get these storms, these rains, these showers. All this is going to come through, and you see this on the radar map, these lines, and it's about once or twice a week you'll see these cycling through. And you know, winter technically on the calendar maybe runs until about March 20th here. I think about a month earlier than that, February 20th, is when you really start seeing that transition into spring and this back and forth where these weekly or sometimes twice a week storms are coming through. Now, these storms are not always major, devastating storms. A lot of times they're just rain, you know, light rain to heavier rain, maybe a little bit of light wind, a little thunder and lightning. Very common, but really doesn't do that much damage really to anything. You know, sometimes it's actually really relaxing, you know, especially if it's in the morning coming through on a Saturday. It's actually really peaceful. It just makes it really hard to get out of bed. So on the weekdays, it can make it a little tougher. But other than that, that's what you're dealing with a lot of the time. Now, that can escalate, and it does pretty commonly. You will see sometimes some stronger straight line winds, and those can do a little bit of minor damage, usually nothing too major. The bigger thing that we see a lot that can range from being a minor pain to a major headache, and that is hail. You know, we will see hail a pretty good bit, and actually just about 2 weeks ago, we had some hail come through the area, and right here in my neighborhood, we had some little pea-size, maybe dime-size hail. Really not even enough to cause damage to cars, but less than a mile to the north of my neighborhood, they had golf ball size hail. This is just a picture from less than about a mile from my neighborhood here that was posted on Facebook. So you will see that. Obviously, that can cause damage. So this is where it starts to impact you, even on your home search. If you're looking for a home here, you know, if you don't have a carport or a garage, you know, your car is out there vulnerable to that. And if it gets hit by that hail, you're going to be dealing with insurance and making a claim on that to get that taken care of. So that's kind of more, I guess, the minor pain. It can get into a major pain if it's that bigger hail and it's causing damage on your house. But I will say it can also sometimes be a blessing in disguise, because if you've got a new roof, you don't want that. But if you've got a roof that's hitting about 10 years old, up to about 15 years old, and where it's, you know, you had it for a while, but it's not yet where you would pay to replace it, might be a chance to get the insurance to cover most of that replacement costs and go and get you a new roof. Some people actually are pretty happy when that happens, if it happens at just the right time. So, you know, I guess it depends on your situation, but literally, you know, there's a roofer business card that came by the house last week. They'll be out here looking, they'll be looking for work, and they will find it too a lot of times, because that hail, it does happen, it will cause some damage on those shingles. So that's just something to be aware of, one thing that you're gonna have to deal with. But I know the biggest thing on most of your minds is gonna be tornadoes. And, you know, especially with the recent tornadoes we had up in Rolling Fork and Silver City, you know, where you just had an EF4 tornado come do major damage, actually hit, you know, in a population center there. You know, it's on everybody's minds. It's what you're thinking about. And it kind of makes it feel like they're happening all the time here. But I will say, I'll scale that back a little bit and say, you know, they don't happen like that very often. Those kind of tornadoes are pretty rare, where they're a major devastating tornado that actually hits a populated area. You gotta think, over Mississippi, it's a very rural area, and lots of space out there for tornadoes and storms to come through, and they can do damage. But if it's, you know, if no one's around, it's really usually not that big of a deal. I don't even know how they calculate, you know, if that's a F4 or F5 or F3, because they take into account the damage on that. So, you know, those will happen out there. But if you look, you know, especially, I can show you a data map here of all the tornadoes. You can go see all the tornado tracks for the last 50 years. Most of them are going to be more minor EF0 or EF1, maybe EF2 tornadoes. And, you know, actually a few years ago we had an EF0 come right through my neighborhood. Literally, you could kind of see where it messed up some things at the front, just like a limb down and some, you know, just leaves and sticks and things like that scattered around. That was about it. You know, there were no damage to structures or anything like that. And so that's a tornado. It can happen, and obviously it's a little scary when it's going on, you know, but you know, it really ends up not being that big of a deal. Now, am I saying that you don't need to keep an interior closet in your house? cleaned out just in case? No. Which clearly I need to work on, but also something else you may need to work on to make sure that you're the most prepared when you get here to Mississippi, and that's get down there, hit that subscribe button, and click the bell. That way you'll see all of our new videos when they come out. But most people can live here in Mississippi their entire lives and never be directly and majorly impacted by a tornado, except for maybe when Dave Roberts or Patrick Ellis comes on and interrupts your favorite program to track these storms through the area. But if you are in the path of them, you're going to really appreciate that, and you're going to want to watch that because they can give you some very vital information to keep you up to date and prepared when those storms are coming through. And if you're not in the track of the storm, it's still a great opportunity for you to learn where everything is in the area. I think that's when we get our geography, our local geography lesson here in the South is in the spring when we're dealing with these, because I'm telling you, these guys, I don't know what it is. I've lived here a decade. I don't think Patrick has even lived in this area as long as that. I'm not sure, but he knows the area better than I do. And I'm doing real estate. I'm out driving around, going all over the place and looking at stuff. And then he'll be talking about some road behind a school next to a tree, 50 miles out into the country. I don't know how you keep up with this, how you know all that, but he does. So they're the guys to watch. They will keep you informed. But other than the tornadoes and the storms and that kind of stuff, the big stuff that's on your mind, there are a couple more minor things. It really stems from one thing. And that is the pollen and the allergies. Now, the pollen, you'll start seeing that around the beginning of March. Typically, I think it was a little earlier than that this year we started seeing it, but it can get pretty heavy. We actually saw it, and I'll show you this picture here I took. It got so bad at one point where you could see tire tracks in the pollen. That's how bad it was, because it actually didn't rain for a few days, and that kind of built up. So you'll actually end up appreciating that rain a lot of times, because it'll knock that pollen down and keep it out of the air, so that you don't have to deal with it. But you're going to have that in the air. You're going to have good luck keeping your car clean. I know these car washes around here, they're building them all over the place. That unlimited subscription is definitely worth it. I think I get my money's worth for sure during the spring. I don't know how it's profitable for those few months for those guys to let me wash my truck 2 or 3 times a week for $20 a month. But that's what they do. So you can do that if you want to, if you really want to keep it clean, or you can just let it stay with the pollen on it until the rain washes it off. Either way, you can do that. But the other thing, obviously, allergies. If you are an allergy sufferer, you're going to be like me. Keep the Zyrtec handy, the Flonase, whatever works for you. You're gonna be needing that, and that's gonna be going on a lot. Really, all different kind of things are coming out blooming. So it's really just depending on what you're allergic to, I guess, different parts of it. But all the way from mid-February till about mid-May, you got those allergy issues. But other than that, all the negativity aside, there's definitely, in my mind, way more reasons to love living here in the spring than to hate it, because you just get in between that weather. That's just a day here, a day there. But in between the bad weather, you get just the beautiful days, temperatures in the mid-70s, maybe into the low 80s. It's not too humid yet. And, at night, maybe it gets down into the low 60s or maybe the high 50s. So it's just a really comfortable time to get out and enjoy all of the outdoor things we have here. You've got the reservoir and all the trails there, and the Natchez Trace. You've got lots of great parks here, both for adults, like I said, with the trails, with tennis courts, with the pickleball courts, the new one they added in Flowood. I don't really know what pickleball is. If you like to play pickleball, Winter Circle Park, they just added the pickleball court. So really, there's something for you to find here. Whatever you want to do, you're going to be able to find something. And you can do that again from mid-February all the way about till mid-May to late May. And that's when finally we're really starting to get closer into those summer months. And, the temperatures are pushing up into the 90s. That humidity is really starting to come back and kick in. And it makes it to where it's a little tougher to be outside. You can do it. But it's nothing like the great time that you can experience doing it right now in the spring. And like I said, usually you've got about February, March, April, May, a good chunk of the year that you can enjoy that. So if you want to enjoy that and all the other things about living in Mississippi, but you want to be aware of more of the downsides, the negatives, the things that maybe will kind of turn you off from it, I did a video for you right here. Actually, I'm going to put it right there. Check that one out. See you there. Walking through Winter Circle Park. A beautiful spring day here in Flowood, Mississippi.